Hi all, in this video we will try to understand what is second house in Vedic astrology. Second house represents the family, also your income, and also it represents your speech, right? So your family life, your speech, then your income, the liquid income that you have. So this is the main picture, but if you really observe, so second house represents the inflow of finances. So how much money you're able to get as a liquid income, right? That is the inflow of money, actually, second house. And your bank related stuff, whatever money you are putting in the bank, or your bank's status, the total money that you have in the bank, right? The liquid assets mainly. And it also represents your family. Even the fourth house represents domestic life mainly, but second house can also represent your family life, your family members, how you interact with your family members, and also your ancestral property can also be seen by this particular second house. So as this is indicating this kind of ancestral property and family, so you can also say there are some lawsuits. So whenever you want to see some kind of lawsuits related stuff, you can also check the second house, because it is related to your family and your income, your ancestral property. So there would be some cases running, right, for about this particular ancestral property and all the stuff. So there would be some cases related to your family, right? So all the stuff, all this, the second house energy is related to all this stuff. Even the speech, whether you can get any speech related problems, or if you have any kind of impact in future due to your words, right, that also can be seen by second house. And even as it is related to family, a sannyas means leaving the family and living somewhere else, right, that also can be seen. Just a minute. So the sannyas is something like how, or what are the chances that you can become monk, right? That kind of stuff also you can see by checking the second house. Your servants and friends can also be seen by second house. And what else you can see? Your early age life means your boyhood. When you were a child, uh, how you were, means how your friends, all the stuff, right? How you were, how you actually spent your life with your friends, all the friendship, all your boyhood can can be understood by checking this second house. So your self earned wealth is second house. The loss or damage to the second house is something like the loss or damage related to your self earned wealth. Your possessions, the worldly possessions, can also be seen from here. And jewelry, what kind of jewelry you can have, how much jewelry. If second house is afflicted, or if it is filled with some malefic energy, and you may have problems with all this stuff. Even your eyesight can be checked by checking the second house, means whether you can get any eyesight or not in the future or at any time, that also can be checked from second house. Understanding with family members, the inheritance, the inherital properties, throat related stuff, as it is indicating the speech. The second house is indicating speech. So you can also check the throat related diseases, all the stuff from the second house. The domestic comforts, how much amount of comforts you can actually experience. The domestic comforts, that also can be checked from here. So your right eye is actually represented by his second house, right? So always you can understand the right eye related matters. You can check with this particular second house. Fine, so this is about the second house. So as a whole, you can see the liquid income you get, the inflow of your finances, your right eye, your family, your understanding with family, the early age or boyhood, your speech, and your intensity becoming a monk, your servants, your friends, self-earned wealth, loss or damage to the whole self-earned wealth, the worldly possessions that you have, the jewelry, right? And also the grandfather and grandmother can also be checked from second house, because it is related to the ancestral property and also the inheritance. So eyesight can be checked, understanding with the family members, lawsuits, the speech related issues, whether it's slow speech or stammering speech, or you have any means what is the chance that this guy can use bad words, the filthy words, that also can be checked from the second house. All the stuff, right? The right eye and the domestic comforts. Let us say your second house has some Saturn's aspect. Saturn is looking at your second house. Then you can definitely say the person would be a slow speaker, or he would be a kind of he would be using some filthy words. He likes to talk that kind of filthy words because of that Saturn aspect. As your age grows, you can clearly see this kind of things. And if your second house is filled with positive energy, you can see, right, a lot of inflow of money, all the stuff you can clearly see. And your boyhood was very great, your early age was very great, and you would be equipped with some servants or friends, whatever, right? The worldly possessions you can have, the jewelry. The second house energy is, if the second house energy is very good, you can observe all the positive things in these matters. Now let us say in this particular Kundli, the horoscope, here the second house is Cancer in the mobile screen I am showing, right? So where is Moon present in this particular so second house is Cancer, second house Lord is of course Moon here, and this particular Moon is present in the fifth house, So what I can tell about this, the second house does not have any planets, and at the same time the second house Lord is present in the fifth house. So fifth house is a very good house. What are the good houses in Vedic astrology? 1, 4, 7, 10, 5, 9. These are the good houses, right? The best houses. And what are the bad houses? 6, 8, 12. These three are the bad houses. Now whenever a second lord, here the second lord is present in the fifth house, a very good house, right? So definitely the person is taking birth on this particular time can have a very good income, because his second lord is present in the fifth house. And now, even though the income is very good, there would be some kind of fluctuations, because his second lord is Moon. And what is Moon? Moon is always it could be waxing or it could be waning, right? So before Amavasya or no moon day, the moon, right, it diminishes, it reduces itself, it is a waning moon, right? So it reduces its intensity before the no moon day or Amavasya, and on the Amavasya day it completely wanes away, it completely goes away, right? And after Amavasya, again it is going to increase, the moon's energy is going to increase, and on the full moon day it becomes complete, and it's called as a waxing phase of the moon, or increasing phase of moon, or growing phase of the moon. Now, as moon has this kind of fluctuating behavior, so obviously a second lord, moon's energy, the second lord is moon, so it's related to moon's energy. So the energy here is fluctuating. The energy here is fluctuating. So definitely the second house related matters going to fluctuate. Speech or family life or the income, right? There would be some kind of fluctuation, but at the same time you can also check how much is the fluctuation. Is it a bad thing or it's a good thing? What is the moon's position here? This kind of moon is a waxing moon or waning moon. Means is it a increasing moon or a decreasing moon? We need to check. So the date is 8th January 2021. So if you check the calendar here, so the eighth day is a diminishing moon. It's a diminishing moon because on 13th you have the no moon day, right? So on 8th, obviously it is diminished, so it is getting diminished. So on first it has some more white color if you observe in the picture. Second, it is decreasing like that, right? So the diminishing thing, right, is becoming more and more, and on the 13th it is completely dark. On 13th it is a no moon day or Amavasya, you can say. So this moon is a waning moon or decreasing moon. So this moon's energy may not be very nice, very good, may not be very good. So definitely this moon is not so good. So especially if the birth takes place at night, right? Definitely this particular person can experience, this particular native can experience that kind of moon's energy, which may not be a comfortable moon, right? So let me check the other day, some November 8th, some 2020. If a person was taking birth the time, then directly, what is the second house here? The first house is Pisces and the second house is Aries. And who is the Lord of Aries here? The Lord of Aries is Mars. So Mars is directly present in the first house. First house is always the Lagna house and is the best house. 1, 4, 7, 10, 5, 9. These are the best houses. Among these, the first one is always 1, house number 1. So a presence of second house Lord in the first house is a very good thing. And what is the position of this Mars? This Mars is a retrograde Mars. See, even though the second house Lord is present in the first house, he is in retrograde status. And Mars retrograde is not an auspicious thing. It's not a good thing at all. Right? The presence of second Lord in the first house is good. So give 1 point there. Give some good points, good number of points there, right? And at the same time, this particular Lord of the second house is in retrograde status. That means, again, there's a negative energy, right? See, Mars retrograde and Venus retrograde are not good things. Jupiter retrograde, Mercury retrograde, good, okay, fine. Mars, Venus retrograde are not at all good. And Saturn retrograde is worst. So this kind of retrograde Saturn anywhere, if he is present, he is going to destroy, he is going to create a lot of problems in that particular house matters. So here, anyways, we are talking about the retrograde Mars. So retrograde Mars is also not auspicious. Okay. So now there is some negative energy in the first house itself, right? And the second house Lord is present in the first house, so there is some positive energy, but again the positive energy is reduced because this particular second Lord Mars is in retrograde status. And what about the aspects on this particular Lord? There is a Saturn aspect also on this particular first house, but not on the second house. That is okay. And is there any aspect on this particular second house? Yes, Jupiter's fifth aspect is present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Jupiter is present in the Sagittarius, and this particular Jupiter is watching the second house. So it is going to be a very beneficial thing here. So again, there is a positive energy, there is a pumping up of positive energy. The Jupiter's aspect is one of the best things in the astrology. Jupiter always aspects a 5th, 7th and 9th house from wherever it sits. And that is going to be very, very auspicious, because Jupiter is an ancient planet in our solar system. The first planet that was born in our solar system is Jupiter. And the second oldest one is Saturn. So the first oldest one is Jupiter, and also the biggest one is also Jupiter. The second place goes to the Saturn, right? So the biggest planet is Jupiter. So Jupiter is very auspicious. Jupiter's energy is very good. And whatever problems you have in a particular house, if Jupiter aspect is present on that house, that problems would become temporary only, because Jupiter is going to solve all the problems related to that particular house. Jupiter's aspect is very good, and this Jupiter must be very good here. So he is very good because he is 27 degree in forward motion, and also he is in his own house, right? We are not talking about the 10th house here. So there is there is a concept. Jupiter actually destroys its own house if it is present in Sagittarius or Pisces, right? There's a concept. There's this kind of thing was written in some of our ancient texts, that Jupiter destroys the house where it is present, provided that house is going to be Sagittarius or Pisces, right? So anyways, here Jupiter is present in Sagittarius. Jupiter is going to create problems in Sagittarius related stuff, that is in the work environment, the 10th house, because Jupiter in the Puranas also they mentioned Jupiter actually destroyed his own house. Means he was not so great in his own house matters, because he's a learned guy, right? He's a learned person, so he's always busy in learning stuff, but he was not able to maintain his house properly. So even his house was filled with a lot of disturbances. Even his wife was not happy. Such kind of stories were written about Jupiter. So that's okay, but Jupiter's aspect is good. Jupiter may not be good provided if he is present in Sagittarius or Pisces, but in other houses he is going to do something good only. Even in the own houses he is also good, but compared to own houses, Jupiter is good in other houses. Yeah. And if Jupiter is debilitated, of course that is bad. Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn at some degree, so it's not so good in Capricorn. But here we're talking about the Jupiter's aspect. The very nice Jupiter here is aspecting the second house. So the income matters are going to be settled. The family matters are going to be settled. The lawsuits associated with this ancestral property or any family matters, all those things are going to be settled even if it creates some problems. All the problems, why it is going to create problems? Because the second house lord is Mars and he is in retrograde status, so there are some problems. But these problems are going to be completely rectified because of this Jupiter. Okay, so right, so Jupiter is also called as the Swasthana Hantaha. Swasthana Hantaha means is going to destroy his own house, provided his own house means Sagittarius or Pisces. Just Jupiter's presence in Sagittarius and Pisces may not be very good, but his aspect is going to be good. And even his presence in other houses, like, in Cancer, of course, he is very exalted, he is very good, right? That is good. And in other houses also is going to do something better only, right? Except if it is not the sixth house, right? In sixth house matters also. Sixth house is also not a very good position for Jupiter. Now, anyways, we're talking about the second house. So here this Jupiter's aspect on second house is good. Okay, even though he's not very good in the 10th house matters, his income is good, his ancestral property is good because of this Jupiter's aspect, the fifth aspect. And who else is watching the second house here? See, the Sun and Mercury are also watching this particular second house. How is Sun and Mercury here? Sun is in enemy's house, but 22 degrees he experienced, and Mercury 3 degree in forward motion. All are in forward motion only. So Sun is at 22 degree, Mercury is at 3 degree. So there is a distance between Sun and Mercury. So if there is a close distance, and if it is close distance, and if this Sun Mercury is present in 1, 4, 7, 10 houses, then people would say that's a Buddhaditya Yoga. That's a formation of Buddhaditya Yoga, provided Sun and Mercury must be very close with a distance of 7 degree only. Means in between, the distance must be 7 degree. Here see what is the distance? Sun at 22 degree and Mercury at 3 degree. Means what? Mercury experienced only the 3 degree of Libra, whereas Sun experienced the 22 degree of Libra, right? So Sun is not in the middle of Libra. He already crossed the middle of the Libra, and Mercury is even at the beginning of Libra here, right? So there is a distance of 19 degree here. 22 minus 3 is actually 19. So 19 degree difference is present between Sun and Mercury, and also this Sun and Mercury are in 8th house. So this kind of and what is Sun here? Sun is the 6th lord. So the presence of 6th lord in the 8th lord is good. So there are 3 bad houses in Vedic astrology, 6, 8, 12. Whenever the bad house lord is present in any good house like 1, 4, 7, 10, 5, 9, it is going to destroy the good effect of that particular good house. But the presence of a bad lord in a bad house is auspicious, is very good. That means, what is a bad house? Bad house is 6, 8, 10. Who is a bad lord? The lord of a bad house is bad lord. He is called as a bad lord. So if here the 6th lord, that's bad lord, is present in another bad house, the 8th house, so it is auspicious. So Sun is actually, he is going to give some positive results only in its dasha or anta dasha, you can say. And what about the Mercury here? Mercury is the lord of 4th and 7th. 4, 7 are the very good houses. So the lord of 4th and 7th is present in the 8th house. It is not so auspicious because 8th house is a bad house, right? So this guy is going to experience some problems in the domestic life and also in the marriage, because 7th house is related to marriage and 4th house is a pure domestic life, and also it represents mother, 4th house. So Mercury is present here, the 7th house, right? So he may have some, Mercury represents communication, right? So he may have some kind of communication problems with his mother, and also in marriage he would have some communication problems, right? And also he would face some kind of ups and downs in his marriage life, in his domestic life, and also the relationship with his mother is also having some kind of disturbances. Now, those disturbances are not very bad because this Mercury is forward in motion, and that is fine. And when Mercury is with Sun, he is okay. It's not inauspicious. If other planets are with Sun, other than Mercury and Venus, if any other planet is with Sun, it's going to undergo a process called as combustion. Right? Combustion means Sun is going to diminish the other planets, the effect of other planets, because you just imagine how you can see Sun, right? You cannot see, right? Because it's very powerful. So even Sun is going to diminish the identity of other planets that are going to conjunct with it, right? So whenever a planet is in conjunction with Sun, it is going to lose its identity. So if Mars is with Sun, Mars is going to lose its identity. If as long as it is becoming very closer and closer to Sun, the planet is going to lose its identity, and the exception is given only to Mercury and Venus, right? So Mercury combustion with Sun is good. If Mercury and Sun both are very much in close conjunction, that is going to be very auspicious. Even with Venus, right? Venus something like, even though it creates some problems in your relationships, but at the same time it is going to give you a very great fame. You can become a big movie star. You just observe the horoscopes of movie stars, that those are getting very great popularity, with very less number of movies. You just observe their horoscopes, you would always find this kind of Sun and Venus conjunction. It's very auspicious for them, right? They may have some kind of problems with their relationships, and as the time goes on, they are going to be rectified. It's not a problem, but a Sun Venus conjunction is also auspicious. With other planets, the Sun is not good. Sun Mars conjunction, or Sun Jupiter, Sun Sun is going to combust other planets except Mercury and Venus. Now here, this particular Mercury and this particular Sun is aspecting the second house, because every planet can aspect the seventh house from wherever it is present. So here Mercury and Sun. So how to identify the seventh house from wherever it is sitting? You just count from this one, Libra. So Libra is first, Scorpio second, Sagittarius third, like that you can count. You can see Aries is going to be the seventh house. As a shortcut, you can also see any house's opposite house is the seventh house from it. So here the opposite house of eighth is second, so second house is going to be the seventh house from eighth. Now this kind of Sun Mercury conjunction aspect may give, as Sun and Mercury is in the eighth house. Eighth house is a house of sudden events. It's also a house of longevity or longevity. You can say the how many years a person can live. That kind of thing you can always check by using the eighth house, right? So it's also a house of sudden events, sudden energies, the accidents, the whatever sudden things, right? You can actually check all those things. You can see from this eighth house. So this kind of sudden energy related to the Sun Mercury, the communication, and also the fourth house related, and also the seventh house related. So as it is fourth house related and seventh house related, and it is a eighth house, so bad energy. So suddenly, because of his marriage, because of his domestic life events, because of those sudden events, he may have problems with his income. Because second house is house of income. So as a whole, you can see the Sun Mercury aspect to this particular second house is not so auspicious because of this Mercury. The very good Mercury is present in the very bad 8th house. Why it is very good Mercury? I'm saying this, it's related to the 4th house and 7th house, but it is becoming very it is losing its energy because it's present in the 8th house. 8th house is a kind of block hole. The 6th house, the 8th house, the 12th house, these are kind of block holes. So they are going to reduce the energy of the planets that are occupying them. Okay, so this 8th house is going to reduce the power, the energy, the strength of this particular Mercury. And of course the Sun is very much good because he is related to the 6th house. Okay, so the 6th, being a 6th house lord, he is a bad person, he's a bad thing here, and he is present in the 8th house. 8th house is also bad, so bad into bad is good, minus into minus is plus, kind of stuff, right? Okay, so the Sun is good and Mercury is bad, and this Mercury is related to the 4th and 7th. So this kind of Mercury is losing its strength, and he is also aspecting the 2nd house. So he may give some kind of troubles in the income, or some kind of troubles in the family, or some kind of troubles to his liquid cash, whatever, right? Because of this Mercury's aspect, right? That's what we can clearly understand. Even what is his Venus? His Venus is also debilitated, you can see, right? So because the Venus energy is completely occupying the 7th house, right? So Venus is debilitated in the 7th house, so this person is going to get divorced also. This person is going to get divorced because this particular 7th house is filled with a debilitated Venus energy. So debilitated Venus is it is the most inauspicious thing in the whole astrology. A debilitated Jupiter or debilitated Venus, right? All these things are very much inauspicious in Vedic astrology. So this kind of, and also Venus is related to the relationship energy, the beautiful energy that you experience when you are in a relationship with a person, right? So this relationship energy is completely debilitated in the 7th house, so gone, right? So even this person may not get married, or even if he gets married, he is going to see the diverse issues going on. And also this particular 4th house, 7th house Lord Mercury is present in the 8th house. So as it is aspecting the 2nd house, it is going to give some troubles to his ancestral property, and also the income, the liquid cash, the family disturbances, all the things are present here. So this is it, and let me check another horoscope, something like 3rd June 2020. Now what is the 2nd house? So first house is Libra, 2nd house is Scorpio. And where is the lord of this particular 2nd house? 2nd house lord is Mars. Mars is present in the 5th house. Very nice, right? Very nice, because 2nd lord is associated with 5th house. So again I am telling you, in the Vedic astrology there are some good houses and there are some bad houses. What are the good houses? 1, 4, 7, 10, 5, 9 are the good houses. And what are the bad houses? 6, 8, 12 are the bad houses. Okay, 6, 8, 12 are the bad houses. So whenever a good house lord is present in another good house, that is very auspicious. That is the first and fundamental rule of astrology. And whenever a good house lord is present in a bad house like 6, 8, 12, then it is very bad. It is going to lose its strength and it is going to be bad. It is going to be inauspicious. That is the second fundamental rule of Vedic astrology. And what is the third fundamental rule of Vedic astrology? Whenever a bad house lord, that is the lord of 6, 8, 12, present in one of the bad houses, 6, 8, 12, then it is auspicious, because minus into minus is plus. So if 6th lord is present in 12th house, very good. 8th lord is present in 12th house, very good. 12th lord is present in 6th house. Very good, right? What is the auspicious thing here? The 6th lord is present, let us say, in the 12th house. So the 6th lord, bad things all are taken and packed in a bag, and they are completely dumped into the 12th house. Means 12th house is a very big hole, 6th house is a small big hole, and 8th house is somewhat bigger, and 12th house is the very bigger. It is a bigger black hole, the 12th house. So the 6th lord is present in the 12th house. So all the bad things associated with the 6th house are completely gone and destroyed. What are the bad things associated with 6th house? 6th house is house of enemies, house of diseases, house of debts. So even though this person has some kind of diseases, as time grows, his health is also going to be improved. He may have a disease, but the disease not going to do anything. It's not going to harm him any which way, because a 6th lord is present in the 12th house. So he's going to get better. And 8th lord is present in the 12th house, let us say. What is 8th lord? Let us say, what is 8th house? 8th house is house of sudden events, house of accidents, house of death, right? So as 8th house lord is present in the 12th house, he would have good longevity. His death is actually gone, completely dumped. So he's going to live a long life, you can say, right? And what if the 12th house lord is present in the 8th house? What is 12th house lord? 12th house is house of separation, house of imprisonment, house of seclusion, right? House of sacrifice, house of expenditure. So as 12th lord is present, if it is present in the 8th house, so all these things are dumped. Very great thing, right? Very good thing. So this is the third fundamental rule. So whenever a bad house lord is present and another bad house, that is a very auspicious thing. So that is a third fundamental rule of Vedic astrology. Got it? Now see this particular second house lord. Second house lord is present, is associated with 5th house, a beautiful house, 5th one, 1, 4, 7, 10, 5, 9. These are the good houses. So the second lord is associated with this 5th house. So there is a strength. You can see, they can observe the second lord is gaining some strength because he is associated with 5th house. He is gaining strength, right? But what about this person at all? This Mars, how is he? He is experiencing 20 degree of Aquarius. He is in forward motion and he is in enemy's house. Only that is a small problem. Enemy's house, right? So there are some degrees, there are some various levels of badness in Vedic astrology. One badness is debilitation, is the biggest bad thing. Okay, and retrogression is bad for Saturn, Venus, Mars. For Jupiter and Mercury, retrogression is also good. Okay, and what about the third one is combustion. So whenever a planet is associated very closely with Sun, that is called as combustion, and it is also inauspicious, and the exception is given only to Mercury and Venus. And what is the fourth bad thing in Vedic astrology? The fourth bad thing is enemy's house. Presence of a planet or presence of a lord of a particular house is in the enemy's house. So whenever a planet is in the enemy's house, how it feels? It feels very uncomfortable. As you go to your enemy's house, how you feel? You feel very bad, right? So debilitation is a kind of bankruptcy. Let us say you don't have any amount of money, you're just completely bankrupt. How you feel? You feel very bad, very sad. So that is the debilitation. What about the retrogression? Retrogression is going back. Instead of things going forward, let us say you're doing something, you're writing a program or you're reading a book and it's not happening, it is getting delayed. How you feel? You feel very bad, right? And the combustion is something like heat. it's a kind of applying heat, right, or applying some kind of disturbance, or losing your own identity. How you feel when you lose your own identity? You feel very bad, very much dejected, right? Of course, combustion exception is given to Mercury and Venus. Retrogradation exception is given to Jupiter and Mercury planets. Okay. Now, fourth thing is enemy's house. How you feel when you go to your enemy's house? You feel very uncomfortable. Even though they are not doing anything to you, they are not harming you, you still feel uncomfortable, and you're a bit not so happy. You're not going to be happy, definitely, right? So this particular Mars is an enemy's house. It's okay. At least this Mars is associated with the fifth house. So it's a good thing also. There's a more positive thing because it is associated with the fifth house, and there is some negative energy because it is in the enemy's house. And as it is in the second house Lord, so the income is good, the family life is going to be good, and also his ancestral property, if has any, it's going to come to him for sure. He is going to be a very good speaker. And as Mars energy is related to it, Mars is related to the anger and also the courage, right? And also you can say the Mars also can represent the sexual drive, right? And so it's very good, right? It's because he's going to be a courageous speaker. He can speak anything very courageously. So how a Mars you can represent with a military general. How a military general speaks, right? He speaks very firmly with some firm determination. He speaks. So this guy can speak very nicely, right? Now, what is the aspect? What are the other aspects on this particular second lord? Anyone is watching this guy? Saturn is not watching, Jupiter is not watching, and no one is watching this. Very good. So his income is going to be very good. He is going to be a very great, very blunt speaker. And what else? His family, he's going to, he's going to be very good with the family things, all the stuff. His family life is going to be good, but there is one bad thing, that is he is present in the enemy's house, so there is some kind of disturbance. And also, as this particular Mars, the involvement of Mars in the family matters and the speech, right? In the income, it is good, the force, right? Mars is the force, Mars is the action, the drive, right? So his income is going to be good, but this kind of Mars, association of that kind of Mars energy related to the second house, something like it's going to create some kind of disturbances because of his speech, maybe, or because of his anger. Because Mars is associated here, right? Mars and Saturn are a bit, Saturn is more malefic, of course. Mars is also slightly, he is also malefic. You cannot neglect the maleficness of Mars, right? So, but anyways, his income is good, family life is good, and also he's a very courageous and blunt speaker, straightforward speaker. It's very fine, but at the same time, his family matters, right, has some kind of negative energy associated, some kind of anger. He has to control his anger so that he can maintain some kind of good environment in his family. And how can I relate I want to see more, because on this family matters, because I can see this Mars association in the family stuff, because the second house lord is Mars. So I want to clearly check how much impact it is going to. There's some negative points in the family atmosphere because of this Mars association, and I want to check it more. Then I will check the fourth house. A fourth house is, suddenly I can see the Saturn is present in the fourth house. See, this kind of Saturn is retrograde. A very dangerous Saturn is present in the fourth house. And also the Jupiter is debilitated, so his family's domestic life is completely gone, right? The domestic life is completely corrupted. It's destroyed. I should not say corrupted. It is completely destroyed. You can say the fourth house, because the Saturn and Jupiter presents a retrograde Saturn and debilitated Jupiter, are present in the fourth house. The domestic life is completely gone. Then I want to see more. I want to see more if this kind of, who is the lord of this fourth house? Capricorn is Saturn only. And that Saturn is present in the fourth house, retrograde, gone, and Jupiter is debilitated, gone. Family life completely destroyed. And now I want to check even more. This destroyedness of this particular family life is due to his spouse. I want to check it. So I will go to the seventh house. So seventh house is related, again it is related to Mars. The lord of this house is Mars. So Mars is present in the, so seventh lord is also present in the fifth house. So clearly, because of his anger, his family life is going to be disturbed. I can clearly say that, because this is the only element that can destroy his family life. And also his bluntness in the speaking, right? When he speaks very bluntly, very straightforward. That is the only thing I can see here. And his Saturn is in retrograde status, so his working capacities, he's a very lazy guy. You can say that. Lazy guy and blunt speaker, because the Saturn, the karmic planet, the planet that is going to make you doing some work, and it's completely retrograde, and Jupiter is also debilitated, the auspiciousness is gone. So anyone is watching the seventh house, moon is watching, right? The moon in the Libra Lagna, Libra ascendant, is of course watching this seventh house. So moon is, I may want to say something positive, but suddenly everything is gone. So this moon is also may not add some energy, because this is a kind of, moon is always a fluctuating energy. I would say if this moon can save something, right? I can check it if on this particular 3rd June 2020 which kind of moon is present, right? Let's go to 3rd June 2020, the Hindu calendar. This particular 3rd June, so this particular 3rd June 2020, I want to check, yeah. So this third is a Shukla Dwadashi. Shukla is a kind of increasing moon, So see, this is a beautiful moon. So at least this moon can save his. So it's a increasing moon. It's a waxing moon, right? Just on 5th, you have a complete full moon. On 3rd, at least you have the Shukla. Shukla means the white. So the whiteness means it's increasing, right? It's increasing. So definitely the 3rd June, sometime we checked, right? 3rd June we checked, right? So this moon is an increasing moon, at least, right? And it's Dwadashi, of course, and it happened on 4/8, so it's okay. It's not going to save much here, right? If it is during night, if this particular birth has taken place, that is at least the moon's energy. But at 4/8 you cannot see the full moon here, right? 4/8 moon, you cannot see the moon at all. During the Shukla days, it's better the birth happens at night, right? Because the moon's energy is going to experience. During the Shukla days, it's better the birth takes place at night. During the Krishna days, means during the diminishing moon days or waning moon days, it's better the birth takes place in the daytime, in the morning times, right? Or morning or sunlight times. So this moon is also a Dwadashi moon, and also the 4/8. Dwadashi means the 12th day of this particular 15 days. So every month is divided into, let us say, the 15 days. So every month is called as a Masa, right? And Paksha means 15 days. So 15 days, the 15th day is going to be, right? If it is a Shukla time, the 15th day is going to be is going to be a full moon day, because Shukla days the moon is going to increase, or moon is going to be waxing, in the waxing phase, right? And finally on the 15th day you can see the full moon day, that is the Paurnami people say. And after that you can see the diminishing, that is a Krishna days, all the Krishna days the moon is going to reduce, or moon is going to diminish, moon is going to diminish, moon is going to decrease, or moon is going to wane itself. So finally you can see the Amavasya after 15 days, right? So this is the so if you want more about this Krishna Paksha and Shukla Paksha, you can see my another video where I actually explained the difference very clearly. The waxing and waning phases of moon I explained very clearly in my other video. The Shukla Paksha and Krishna Paksha differences. Okay, you can watch that video. Yeah. So this moon is also not so energetic. Even though he's energetic, the birth does not take place at night. It's in the evening, 4-8. Okay. So this is it. So this person is going to experience the family issues, the domestic life problems. At least the seventh lord is associated with Mars. So what would happen is, even though his wife is very good, he may experience some kind of domestic life problems. That's what you can see clearly here. Domestic life problems are ensured. Even the seventh lord is in the 5th house. So this guy's wife would be a very arrogant person, because the 7th lord is Mars. Mars is very arrogant, right? So she is very arrogant, but still she may take care of her husband, but at the same time she is very arrogant. Because of her arrogance, this guy may experience he may lack some kind of peace in his life, right? In his domestic life is completely gone. It has been completely destroyed. So much, it's the maximum destroyness you can see here, right? So this is about the second house. The second house lord is Mars, associated with 5th, even though, but it's Mars is something like a bad thing, but still his income is good, and the family life is going to be a bit good, but still the 7th lord is also Mars. So arrogance, you can attribute arrogance to his wife. And completely the 4th house is the domestic life, so domestic life is completely gone, right? Even so, he has some kind of good income, domestic life is spoiled, and wife is something like Mars, is very straightforward, very arrogant, all this stuff. So that is it. So much of negative energy associated in the domestic life. Domestic life is gone, but income is still present, very good income. Okay. And even if you want more about this income stuff, the second house is good, and you can also check the 10th house. The 10th house lord is moon, so moon is present in the first house. So this moon's presence in the first house, the Dwadashi moon, it's a waxing moon, so this person is going to be very beautiful. He looks very beautiful and handsome, okay, because moon is present. The moon is the waxing moon, the Shukla moon. So very beautiful guy, and he married to a very straightforward girl, very arrogant girl. Because of that, he experiences family issues for sure. Okay, so that is it. The 4th house is destroyed. So that is about the second house. In other video, we'll try to discuss other houses. Thank you.